Yeah.
All right, so what is up, everyone? We are back, and it's from one Brit to another here. I'm going to be casting this match along with Knight once again.
Yeah, pretty exciting to be back here. We were just looking at kind of what was going to take shape here for this upcoming first quarterfinal match. And it looks like, Squidz, from what you were just sharing, that we're going to see 4 of the players that just played in the previous semifinal, or first round for that matter, that are going to be joining the 6 that had already advanced into the quarterfinals, along with 2 from the original round 1 racing that we saw. So it's going to be very interesting. We can kind of go through the list, I guess, here in a minute. But do you have
I
any
mean,
kind of thoughts going into this as to what you're thinking you're going to see?
I was just going to say it's a steep climb because coming out after that fairly fairly close round one, we've still got the quarterfinals. And then also the semis, and then after that, the finals. So it definitely isn't easy coming straight from round one to make it all the way up to well, at least semis. So props to those whoever do manage to do so. Excuse me. But yeah, looking at this lineup, I'm looking forward to this match simply because we have quite a lot of big names here, and well, I'm expecting it to be close. So just to, I'll start off with the first six, shall I? So we have names like Tomsu. We have Mitch from USA. Well, actually, we have both Mitches, but Mitch from USA. We have Kokote or Kokote. We have LMDS, obviously from Horizon. We have Devoty, who we will be watching. And we'll also have Brandon. So that's the first six.
And those were the guys that qualified their way into the quarterfinals and got a bye out of the first round. So
Mm.
really well done to them, and honestly, you too, because you're the 15th seed here in the quarterfinals coming up.
I appreciate it.
And then,
Anyway. Oh, go on. Go
oh
on.
yeah,
Sorry.
then it's Seabass, uh, Nikan or Niken, Stevens, who we saw previously a second ago, Alpaco, and then it's going to be Netherlands Mitch and Chibi. So that's going to be huge. That's a stacked quarterfinal.
It
So
is. I mean, I'm pretty sure I recognize every single one of those names.
yeah, a lot of clan leaders in this one, a lot of Mitches in this one. So yeah, it'll be really interesting. You got Thompson there at the top seed. Is he from the Netherlands?
Tomsu is from Finland, I believe.
Finland? Okay, it's one
I mean, don't
country.
quote me on that, but
Blue in the flag.
yeah, I think I'm like 90% sure he's from Finland. Okay, yeah, he is. He is Finnish. Just got some clarification on that. So
Okay,
yeah.
interesting. So yeah, I think it's. I mean, obviously, it comes down to the 12 races that are selected, and that's what's so wild about the finals and witnessing it from the 200cc side of things is that you're going to be playing half of all of
Mm.
the available courses, and you have to be the best against the other 11 players against basically a majority or half of the entire course catalog, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, even though obviously if you finish in fifth or sixth, then you're safe. But that is still definitely not easy. It's a hard task, even finishing in the top six, simply because of how amazing all these players are. So to say.
It is, and I'm just looking at the stream here we have for Devoty, and courses are being selected.
Oh,
Seeing a little bit of
I,
water park.
I got to hop onto this train then.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I was like talking to like Sketch, and just we're just chilling here. It's a fun time in between races, but we're gonna get things going here. Uh, Doing great for time, personally, just from free for all tournament side of things, especially with the complexity of how this specific tournament runs today.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good, and man, it is going to be SNES Rainbow Road. Gonna learn some
Again.
French here.
I mean, pretty sure we finished on SNES Rainbow last round, did we not? I think we
We
did.
did, we did.
And so we're now
Yes,
playing it again for the first time, for the first quarterfinals race.
seeing a lot of DKs, a lot of Warriors here, but it is going to be Devoty here in this Roy Scooty, and going to be starting from the back. You see Seabass there, going to be taking a little bit of a gap between himself and last.
I also remember, Sketch saying that he believed that this was a good front running track. And I do completely agree. This is quite, I would say it is a pretty good front running track. Once you do get in the front or start in the front, it can be quite difficult to lose it unless obviously you get blued or, oh, that's unfortunate by Devoty.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, because obviously there aren't many shortcuts whatsoever in this course, it can be really hard to catch up unless you shock dodge or well, pull the shock, which I imagine Devoty's going to try and do, but he's not going to find it just yet. Just a golden, which on this course isn't that useful, as I was just saying, there's not much to not much room to catch up. So
Yeah, the only thing the golden's good for is if there are other players just getting clapped and wrecked, and you're able to kind of break up that gap, kind of ride that wave of momentum. And he does get another golden secondary as well here in 9th. But yeah, it's just a tough climb. And that's just something he's going to have to watch out for, because even with these goldens, he does have the triple shell secondary. He's still vulnerable right now. And he's got to watch out for the greens and the fire. Luckily gets to his triple greens already here in 6th.
looks like Tomsu is staying in first place. I'm pretty sure Tomsu is the Morton. Even after being blue shelled, it looks like he might, yeah, still get first place. So, oh no, never mind, it's getting taken up for the line. Poor Tomsu. Meanwhile, Devoty managing to shroom up into 4th. Which is, you know, respectable. USA Mitch getting
he avoided some shells behind him, but LMDS, followed by Mitch from the US, take the top 2 spots there. So very interesting to see Tomsu 3rd, Devoty 4th, Kokoti 5th, and then Netherlands Mitch, they're getting 6th. I don't know, I just think it's funny that we have to still separate them out by their country. Who knew Mitch was a common name?
Right. I see a baby part coming out already.
And that was the player that, I'm not sure whose me that is, I'll take a look here in a second, that was consistently trying to pick it the last round 1 match that we saw. There were a few players trying to go for baby park, but it was something that I think Sketch and I were talking about, is the track picks are a nice to have, but you got to bank on it not landing on you, obviously with the 1 out of 12 chance. So, you know, if a track pick comes up and obviously a player is skilled at that track and they know they have a strategy that works, that's going to be a huge benefit for them. And the fact that you can even pick tracks versus it being random, like you usually see in a lot of the American tournaments, is very beneficial.
Yeah. I'm looking at this track section, and I'm actually kind of finding it fairly amusing, because we're seeing lots of tracks that people tend to benefit on from their current or previous clans. So we see Kokote, who picked Bowser's Castle, which obviously MT love to pick. And then we also saw Mitch picking, Netherlands Mitch, picking DMC, which AU also used to pick all the time. One of their go-to courses. Seeing a few arts as well. Dax. But yeah, Devoty's going to get trailed at the start, which is quite unfortunate. Looks like Sebas might have got taken out as well. So these two are going to be playing this race from the back, at least starting from the back.
Yeah, both of them find themselves in the bottom yet again. And it is kind of interesting, too, because when you're talking about kind of the knowledge that you have from being a team player, and this is something that personally I look into every day, given the unique situation of the team that I run, when we mainly got our start off of FFAs and not off of teams, which for basically everybody else, I think it's the other way around. So the interesting thing is everyone kind of has their favorite tracks that they're skilled at, and they've gotten that from the system that they've been accustomed to, based off of whether it's Aurora or Blizzard or Horizon. And it's interesting too, because I've actually played with the majority of the guys here. I was on Devoty UML team. LMDS basically got me started in the competitive Mario Kart, getting a lot of the Vegas players to start. So it's just kind of unique, like seeing their systems and how they're separating their own individual style from the style that they're obviously heavily influenced by, which is from their team.
Yeah, it is interesting. Honestly, it really is. So now we see Devoty actually managing to get up into 5th quite suddenly. Those shrooms are going to go bye-bye, which kind of sucks for him. He does still have one more to play around with, but he's going to have to watch out for this banana that Nakan is trailing. I'm not quite sure who that is in first right now.
That might be Sergio, I would like to say. He was, if he's still, or he might not even be in this one. But I know he was the Waluigi pick.
Yeah, if I can just interrupt, I don't think he is in this one, because I actually did, about 5 minutes ago, receive a DM from Nakan saying Sergio will not be playing today.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if he was in this room, 'cause I don't think he was. I think he's supposed to be in the next room, but he might have to be subbed out. Oh, we do see Nakan himself getting slightly wrecked there after the glider. Devotee's going to
Oh,
just keep on to third.
that Wario player, that was Stevens, was drafting
Whoa.
him hard. Alpaco gets second, but Seabass manages to come from 11th all the way back up to first. And we're seeing these two guys start in the back on
Yeah,
SNES
that's
and on
actually,
Dolphin
that's
Shoals, and
kind of
now
weird.
top two. Yeah,
What can I
it's really
say?
weird, but good for them.
It's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, dude.
Yeah, if it's working, it's working, and if
Yeah, what can I say?
something doesn't go to plan, you say it still is part of your plan, whether it's an item or whatever. I don't think I delivered that line right, but some things don't go to plan, but sometimes it ends up working out in your favor. So right now, going into this crazy selection here, and we're seeing picks all across the board with RWS, Sweet, the OG Nintendo 64 Rainbow Road, GBA, RMP that we're seeing there from Devoty. That is one of his favorite tracks.
Oh, here
He
we
was picking it a
go.
lot in 200cc as well, but here we go to Rainbow Road.
It's time. Choo choo.
Yeah, this is also another arguably front-running track. It's a
Mhm.
checkpoint-based track, and I'll tell you what, there's tons of crazy ways to pick up a win here. I ended up getting a win here last week in my tournament because I predicted the shock. I stopped over the final glider and I glid over, ultimately second place, and stole the
Wow.
win from them. Yeah, so there's plenty of things here, but obviously avoiding the carnage here going into this first turn and using your items fairly is going to be very helpful.
Yeah, it's kind of draft city as well around that first straight and first corner. So many drafts to be had, and so the spots can seem kind of mixed and kind of be changing so often. Whoa, there was a double reds, and also I think we saw a bomb kind of just bounce over Devotee's head there.
Yeah, fire, multiple shells. Seabass has fire as well. So multiple players having fire here, and Devoty doing a good job just to stay up. Oh, I spoke
Whoa.
too soon. He got trailed by the banana and fell off, and because of the bumping and physicality too, this is a track where you got to really watch that,
Yeah.
because falling off means your day could likely be over.
Okay, Devotee kind of just got hit by nothing there.
I don't know what's going
I
on.
think it must have been like a lag green or something. I was about to say, Devotee's still somehow managing onto 6th, even after falling off. But, well, obviously, not anymore. And once again, it's both Sebas and Devotee back here. Although the thing is, this time they're not starting it, in bottom 2, they're kind of like finishing in it. Obviously, there is still a third of the race to go, and there is a blue shell. If that's going to hit behind the line, I don't know. It's coming. I think it is. It's going to reach. If it does reach, it's not going to make too much of a difference, I don't think. Devoty with this plant, I think is going to hopefully secure 6th. Yes.
That was a good recovery, especially too. He had used that first star a little bit early, given that there was something coming back. But LMDS takes that one, followed by Chibi and Thompson. So LMDS, the 5-point lead here over Devoty, and you're seeing a whole swing and pack there for like the 6. It's Chibi, Mitch, Alpaco, Kokoti down by 1, Mitch from the US down by 1. So still very dead even to start things off.
It kind of seems like LMDS just kind of showed up. He just came out of nowhere. I think. Well, he was on 16 after 2, which is still respectable. But I think that would have been like the equivalent of maybe 4th or 5th after 2 races. And so now seeing him have a 5-point lead after 3 races seems very sudden. But well, we'll have to see if he can manage to hold on to it.
Yeah, I think that is 5th. It just shows you consistency is key, and gets that win, and obviously gets the 3-point advantage there over second, getting the 15 points. So very beneficial for him, just kind of riding that wave. And again, like I don't think he even expected to kind of land in first after getting this win, but when you're playing for 6 and you have those 2 solid top 5s, you're just naturally going to gravitate to the top. So the bigger cushion he can just pad early in case anything crazy happens later on is going to be super beneficial for him.
Most definitely. Not only that, but also you've kind of just got to take what you can get as well,
Yeah.
especially in free-for-alls. Because as we know, free-for-alls are so different than regular clan wars.
They are. It's a totally different mindset, and Devoty's saying that leg trail was undeserved. And it was,
yeah,
but he's
I do
recovered
agree.
enough.
Speaking of trails, Devotee's going to find an unfortunate shell to the face. So I think that may be Sebas in 11th. And that's LMDS, so obviously not getting the start he wanted. Probably being redded out of first, of the first set of boxes. That'll be my guess. We'll have to see if Devoty can manage to once again climb his way back up to the top.
Yeah, so here in 11th, I'm making the dumb mistake of checking the Mario Kart Central Twitch chat and sticking on that stream, which is a 3 to 10-second delay, so I apologize there. But he has this boo, and this might be beneficial, especially with that Piranha Plant being activated there by 7th place. Now has 4 shrooms, so gonna potentially circulate that shroom out. Doesn't get a box there, but still has these 3 shrooms. Just gotta be careful of Nikan there with that red shell and that green coming into play. Not sure what he got hit with.
I think it was a trailed red. That's what it looked like. We do see a blue shell coming into play. That's going to go for first place. It does seem like first place has a bit of a break. So that's going to cancel that now. We do see a Waluigi in last as well. I don't see them using that many items, so it kind of makes me think if, they might have the shock. Oh, never mind. I think they've just gone into a ghost. So scratch that, unless they pull it like now. But we do see Devoty in 6th right now, or fighting for 6th. This fire might do work, because we do see lots of people around him.
Yeah, the fun thing about watching those players in the back, it's more fires being thrown out. I don't think Mitch realized that there was fire coming from behind him. Players are falling off all over the place.
How much
fire coming from behind? That must have meant that 3 players had fire. But the crazy thing is you gotta, like, with those players in the back, you might see what they have, whether it's the boo or whatever, but just having the intuition to know what they might have secondary behind. Okay, they have a star, they could have a bullet, or they could have a boo, or whatever power item it could be. It's very useful, but I don't think the shock's going to come into play.
Yeah. We do see a late blue shell. That's not going to make too much of a difference. Mitch is going to try and... no, Mitch is going to get taken out by the line, I think. I was about to say he was going to try and fend for 4th, but yeah, he's going to go down to 8th place. Meanwhile, the other Mitch getting 12th. Was that Brandon getting first? I think it was.
Brandon did, yeah. He did. So
he was on 12 points after the first 2. So seeing him on 27, it would make sense if he did get first.
And LMDS got a solid 3rd, so that's going to continue to pad his lead. And now it's a 1-point gap between 5th and, man, I think 4th through 10th right now still are just points away from each other. So
yeah, it really is hard to say. It really is hard to say what's gonna happen. We've already had 3 races, so that's 25% of the round gone already.
I think that was the 4th, because LMDS got 2 5ths the first, then he got a 3rd, and he's winning.
Oh, so, yes, of course. Yeah, my bad.
So yeah, so we're a third of the way done.
A third of the way done, yeah.
Close. That was what was interesting about the previous round 1 match that we saw. Was it was relatively close. Then kind of like around race 8 or 10 and 11 or so, there was a 9 to an 11-point gap, and then it got shortened by no, not Alpaco's clutch win. Alpaco had the clutch 4th, and Azuzu was 7th, had a clutch win, but it didn't matter. So yeah, I mean, hopefully this is close, and hopefully this is entertaining all the way down to the end for 6.
Yeah, most definitely. Speaking of entertaining, we have Cheeseland for race number 5. I think kind of mixed opinions on this track, simply because you just never know what exactly can happen, because whilst there can be like 3 shocks on Cheeseland, at the same time there have been many shockless Cheeselands as well, which kind of just, I don't want to say nullifies bagging, but well, lots of shortcuts as well. So
yeah, and the last
a lot of people back here as well.
Yeah, it's a toll booth funeral procession line for the double item box. But the last, when we saw Cheeseland in this previous race, there was no shock. And then there were crazy races that we saw, like the Super Bell Subway SBS, where there was a double shock. So I think at this point, given the distance of everybody, and first is going to get hit here, that might be Mitch, or no, it's not Mitch, it's the other DK player.
That's also the other Mitch, I think.
Or both Mitches. DK, that's going to make it.
Oh, that's a huge...
Oh, there's a shock.
Shock dodge for Devoty. He's going to have the stream in first. However, there are lots of people... Never mind, the stream is gone. But yeah, so we do see a few people dodging in bills as well, which makes you think they might have shrooms out now. But we do see Waluigi going into a star in 4th. Kokote is going to be taking the shroom cut, moving up into 1st place. So if he's going to see a shroom on the ground and be like, yep, thank you very much, I'll have that.
does have a red shell secondary. I think there was a shell coming in, might have hit another player or been negated by a defensive item behind him. But the distance between first and last is still so wide. I would expect something here. You see the bullet coming from last. What is behind the bullet? That is the question. And I'm thinking maybe it could be a late blue, or it could be, or maybe might be a star. Who knows? It is a star. So good thing is for Devoty right now, this red's coming in. He does have the banana. He should be able to lock up. Oh no, players are passing him there, but still gets fourth.
And I mean, if you're in Devoty's spot, fourth isn't bad at all, because he's kind of holding down the fort of around second, third, maybe fourth in the standing, because you can see he's tied for second/third with, I think that was either Nakan or Kokote. I didn't quite see. But yes, I mean, if you can just keep chaining consistent third, fourth, or fifths, then that's perfectly fine.
So get this, 6 points separates 4th through 12th. 6.
Wow.
So a little bit of a small cushion up between, I believe, LMDS. I believe it might be Tomsu there that was up there along with Devoty. And we're seeing El Paco and a couple other guys move up the ranks. But 6 points separating 4th to last right now is wild. And just is showing you that this is going to come down to the end at this point, the way things are going.
We're only halfway through as well. So,
and that's Brandon and Stevens that are tied for last. And Brandon got the win on Wario's Gold Mine. Stevens has been very consistent, relatively speaking, despite being tied for 11th, the two of them respectively. But we're going to the dentist, so we'll see what happens here.
We'll have to see who is in need of the fabled checkup. However, we're going to see a Morton, and actually, well, more than just a Morton. We have 3 people bagging off the start, which, again, this is kind of... oh, that's an unfortunate green shell. But yeah, this is also kind of another bagging trap, because once again, there's just so much time to be saved from getting shrooms and just cutting over the grass. And not to mention, as we saw at the end of the last round, that glider, it can be really easy to get target shocked.
Absolutely. We saw that happen to Stevens last time, and the fact that there's 3 different item box opportunities allows you to chain and circulate items here. It makes for a lot of carnage, and especially too with those power items, guys from the back. You see Stevens there with the crazy 8. The bomb gets just thrown out. He's able to kind of cut these courses, like especially right here, coming up this double apex turn. It's just huge with these shrooms, so it's very item reliant. And even if you're in 11th, like right now with Devoty, this is probably a position you actually want to be in at this point.
So I completely agree. A golden and a bill, yeah, that's not too bad. Obviously the shock would have been better, but whoa, speaking of the shock, we see a shock. Yeah. I don't know who used that. Someone must have pulled it in, like, I don't know, 10th, maybe even 11th. But yeah, so Devoty's going to get shocked in last, which is always a horrible feeling.
So the interesting thing is he's got to watch where these shrooms are. He might elect to cut, this left-hander with that shroom, which is a smart idea. Has another shroom to back him up, but it really has kind of jumbled up the pack, which means obviously his item pull going forward is going to be a little bit less appetizing for him. So he does have the shroom. Oh, but he does get triple shrooms. That's huge.
Really good.
Yeah, especially for being mid-pack like this. So barring any...
We do see, unless that was lag. Oh, there's another shock. That's a huge target shock. That's going to get so many people off, and it's going to really not work in Devoty's favor, especially because he's going to get bumped into the off-road by El Paco. He's going to be getting 11th, and we do see, I think, one of the Mitch is in last. And never mind, that's Nakan. That's 3 DKs.
So Tomsu, Mitch, Kokote, Chibi, Stevens there, getting the top 5. Devoty now moves down to 4th.
It's still so close.
Still 10 points between 5th and 12th. So mathematically, everyone is still in this. And that was a very interesting second shock, at least TSing 3, maybe 4 individuals there off the glider. So
it definitely changed things up, because obviously Devoty was looking so good. He was in like 5th with at least 2 shrooms. And so all he had to do was just take the cut, and then it was kind of free sailing from there to get at least first or second. But that shock, it just goes to show how powerful the shock is in this game, especially on tracks with gliders.
Yeah, especially too, Devoty looked like all signs of things were going well for him. Got that amazing pull, and I believe about 7th place. with the triple shrooms behind the mushroom that he had. And then yeah, then just getting TS and unfortunately not having anything to really back him going into that
Yeah.
final section of the course. But DP3 is going to be another interesting one. You could go the Cudge route of running, you could go bagging, you could try and play in the middle and get lucky with items. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, we do see a few people opting to bag, which isn't that surprising. It seems like quite a lot of the courses we seem to be playing this round we got lots of the bagging tracks.
We do. Yeah, and that was what was interesting because there's 4 guys in here from the previous first round match where basically the final 6 races were all like Cheeseland, GP3. You know, there was that SNES there at the very end, but it was very bagging centric. Now, kind of very similar situation here. So it's going to give a little bit of an advantage to those guys that are a little bit fresher, but you don't need to say that to LMDS. He is just being consistently I mean, he's won, I think, 1 race so far, but he's just in the top 3, top 5.
It looked like he was forcing Nakan wide there as well with that red. Doesn't look like Nakan can really do much. Devoty's going to opt to back this green. He's going to get another green and a red with it, which is good defense, but the question is he going to use it offensively?
LMDS might have gotten a little bit hung up there, or it might have just been the lag. He's still got a little bit of a sizable lead here going into lap number 3, but these Horizon guys, Alpaco...
That backspam. Oh, that's a bomb in first. Oh, no.
Oh, no. They're very physical, these HC guys so far.
Okay. Oh, no!
The bomb hit anybody. No, Devoty! Still gets 4th. That's fair.
And we saw LMDS getting blue literally on the line, but it does look like he still managed to finish. I think Devoty was quite lucky to not lose any spots there. So he's going to stick into 3rd place, which once again, that's completely fine. As long as the people relatively close to you in the standings don't get consistent first places, then you should be fine if you're in Devoty's boots.
Yeah, and I believe Seabass there got Laster, and he's 11th overall, but he's still about 10 points back from, I want to say, 6th. So, I mean, these shocks are really telling the story here. You know, whether it's a good story or bad story, obviously we got another chapter coming, but the book and the story is going to end pretty soon. So if anyone wants to seal their fate, they got to, put it in writing, so to speak. That was a long pun. I don't know how I did that. Anyways, I mean, but it is really true. And now we're going to Linkland, Hyrule Circuit here. I've lost track of how many races we've done, but we got to be at like 7 or 8 at least, right?
I think that might have been race 7.
Okay.
Find out. That was in fact race 7. So going into race 8 now for, as you said, Linkland. Dude, not gonna lie, I've actually never heard anyone call Hyrule Circuit Linkland. I'm gonna steal it.
I think I don't know who coined that, but it's one of my teammates, and I don't want to give credit to the wrong person, but yeah. Hyrule Circuit is Linkland.
I see Nakan pulling a shroom. He's not going to use it, so he's going to hold it into 1st place. I feel like if you're Nakan, you've kind of got to use this now to get protection, though. Yeah, he's going to use it just to get ahead, get the double box, and get some protection in case 2nd, maybe 3rd, pulls a red.
And luckily for him, that is not the case. I'm not sure what LMDS has secondary. It's just a banana, so nothing really for Nakan to worry about. And talk about a good performance by him coming up. We're seeing that little game being played there with the bananas. Both bananas canceled out. Yeah, so LMDS and Devoty defenseless right now, and Nikan just able to let them race it out and increase his lead. And that's why if you're ever following NASCAR racing, why it's boring is because in situations like that. And now with all of this barrage of items affecting the bottom players, this is going to allow Nikan to increase his lead.
Yeah, most definitely, but we can't count out the possibility of a blue shell. Everyone is passing the boxes, and whilst the pack is relatively close, Nakan has got a huge lead, and so I feel like a blue shell can just completely well, delete that.
Yeah, if any players go for items here, they opt to not take the cut, or they're going to go to this box coming up here after the start-finish line. I would expect some crazy power items. I think that's Tomsu there in the Morton way back. Expect something radical to happen. I don't like to say what the item would be in the event that it does come out, but you see him there with that star there in last. What does he have behind the star? Time will tell.
I feel like if it was a shock, then it would have been used there to target shock all the people ahead of him.
It was
But look,
the bullet that's incoming.
yeah.
And here's a blue shell though as
Now
well.
there is the blue. Whoa, Devoty, you okay there, brother? But yeah, so the blue shell's finally going to come and hit Nakan at probably the worst spot possible. He's going to get overtaken by a few people, and Nakan's going to get redded by Devoty as well. That is disastrous for Nakan. He's running all of that entire race. Devoty's going to slot into a very respectable fourth. Nakan, unfortunately, dropping down to seventh, and LMDS just simply increasing his lead with every single race.
Yeah, so still that battle for sixth there, and I think Devoty kind of got into the grass a little bit, lost a little bit of momentum coming up off of that final jump, allowed Chibi and the Star to go ahead and seal up third place. But yeah, now going into race number 9, I mean, it's still just so close between even like the bottom half, and LMDS is just smooth sailing at this point. He's in the clear. But yeah, these HC guys, even Alpaco too, just been so physical and just getting things going their way. I think Alpaco though is still kind of like fourth or fifth, but there are so many players still mathematically in this that it's going to literally still be down to this final race. And again, a really unique selection here of about 10 or 11 different tracks.
We do see people just taking the same tracks over and over as well. They really want their pick, but it doesn't look like it's going to go their way. They're going to go to Electrodrome, otherwise known as Club Mario. Yo, that's actually so cute. That's so cute.
Yeah, and I know us in America, we always say Electrodome instead of Drome.
Yeah, when I started this game, I always thought it was Electrodome without the R, but I was mistaken.
Yeah, it's there's a name for that. It's like psychologically, everyone thinks it's a word.
Yeah.
And it actually, I don't want to get into that because it's kind of weird, but like Taylor Swift had a song and people thought Star-Crossed Lovers was Starbucks Lovers. So your mind plays tricks on you, but you got to be mentally prepared for this, especially in this section of the track when back spams are just so prevalent, and just the way that you're kind of going down the hill, you don't have the eyesight to see what's coming, unless obviously you're in a 66 and your teammates can call it out for you. But Boomerang coming into play here from Nikan. Nikan, man, I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but Devoty here with this shell, avoiding the fire.
Whoa, that fire was so close. How he managed to get out of that situation unscathed, I do not know.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. Yeah, I know Nick Blue Orange there from DY was like, I didn't know it was Starbucks Lovers, but there's articles about it online, so just look it up. Anyways, 7th place here for Devoty. He's got this air horn. He's got to be kind of critical about where he's going to use it. He might opt to use it here and then just go for the item, which he does. Pretty textbook stuff. And then now has this red shell for defensive purposes, followed up by the trip greens. So kind of curious to see what's going to happen here with this cut. I'm a little bit concerned about that Wario in the back as well.
Obviously, that's really good defense, but I don't think that's really what you want, considering all the people around you are going to be pulling shrooms and they're going to be just zooming past you at this cut. See, he did lose a few spots because of the lack of shrooms, which he does have now, but he's going to opt to hold on to it behind his defense, which now he's going to finally throw away.
So you're seeing a blue shell come from the back, stars and bullets. With the blue shell now lessening the distance between first and last, could change the item pull up here a little bit positively for guys like Devoty here who are mid-pack. He's got a boomerang, man. He needs to get a really good pull here to set himself up for a good final corner. Can't go for the double. Didn't time it right, and it's only trip greens.
That's not what you want. It seems like his triple shrooms being stolen actually really hurt him. He's gonna green a DK in the cut. Oh no! Wow.
And he got hit. And
was that one of his own greens?
It was a green coming from a weird angle, so it could have been. Seabass takes the win, followed by Mitch.
That's just going to close things up even more. We see Mitch from the Netherlands in 11th with 56, and I think 6th was only on 61.
Yeah, Seabass was 11th or 12th going into that, so I'm watching the delay right now just to see what just happened. And Seabass there at 58. Okay, Brandon might be in a little bit of a tough spot here, but man, it's like 60 to... Oh, I don't know. I mean, the points were so close, I couldn't even tell. But the only person, unfortunately, that looks like they're mathematically in a little bit of trouble here is going to be Brandon, especially after that strong win he had on Wario's Gold Mine. But it looks like everybody else, I mean, is in the 50s, and then you got like Stevens there at 62, Tomsu at 60, Mitch, US Mitch there at 58. I mean, it's close. And we're race 10, 3 more races to go.
And we see my fellow Brit Stevens finally getting his pick for DAC, Animal Crossing. We're going to get the summer variation, which is good because, I mean, I don't think anyone really likes playing on winter.
Yeah, for some reason, I just don't make mental notes of the seasons as much. Obviously, it's really cool to have fall because you can take advantage of some of the different things going on with the apples and things like that. But I know that's prevalent, I think, too, for summer. I could be wrong. I don't know. But only one item box pull here. That's just going to be a red shell for Devoty. He's going to probably hold on to this up until this upcoming item box.
I do still think we need to keep an eye out for Brandon. Yes, he is pretty far back, but there's also another track he does really love playing, and he is pretty damn good at it. So if he can pull off a clutch first place here, then Brandon is right back in it, I think.
You're right. And yeah, I do remember Sketch saying that about Stevens as well. So these art guys could be at a potential home track advantage, so to speak, here with how they played. And obviously, too, if your teammates and you got Stevens and you got Brandon in here, you got Alpaco and LMBS, I mean, these guys are going to know at least how they're going to play. And, you know, and I came in that situation as well, too, in a free-for-all with Kyrette. Just if I know how my teammate plays, and luckily these guys aren't fighting with their teammates for spots. Some of them are pretty content, and Brandon's fighting his way in. It's going to be pretty helpful to you compared to some of the other guys that are kind of on the outside looking in those like 8th, 9th spots trying to fight for this.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the map. I'm pretty sure that actually is Brandon in first place right now, which is not where he wants to be considering that Blue Shell is out, and that's going to go hunting right for him. So he's going to go, that is Brandon, yep, going to be blued. He's going to go right down. He's going to go right down to 10th place, I think, without a shroom as well. So this went from like basically his race to lose to just absolute disaster. Meanwhile, Mitch is going to be throwing fire in first place. He's going to seal out that win.
Oh, Brandon still recovered for 7th, so could have been worse, but obviously not what Brandon wanted. And we did see, I think that was Devoty took a really conservative approach there to that final turn, but it ended up getting him a 3rd place finish. And so LMDS gets 4th, Mitch from the Netherlands 1st, Stevens 2nd, Cody and Tomsu. So it is going to be 3 points between Tomsu and Nikan there for 6th and 7th.
Yeah, I think
but still plenty of time.
I think top 4 are slowly but surely breaking away right now. So if you're in there, then obviously that's great. And I'm just kind of looking at the chat. Rookies pointing out that Sebas apparently went from 1st to basically 12th on the line.
Did he?
Well, apparently. I mean, I must have missed it. But
somebody got rocked on that final turn. I know that. And because Devoty took a little bit of an interesting line, and he went to the left. So from the vantage point of if that happened to Seabass there, then he probably was just the victim of the barrage of all of those items coming up with the players hitting that final item box. And you know they're going to get some powerful items, especially in the bottom spots. So
what's interesting though is that we see Sebas actually picking RWS, and it's gonna be just that. So I'm not really too sure what his logic behind that was. We do see both Kokote and Devoty being taken out at the start. So they're going to be playing this course from the back of the pack. Kokote deciding to bag a little bit. We'll have to see how that bodes out.
Yeah, I think if you're Devoty though, you're feeling pretty solid. You obviously don't want to get like 2 back-to-back slow finishes, but you can recover here, wait for everyone to get systematically like picked off. And you know, obviously this is a little bit harder of a track to recover from, just given that there's no cuts and it's predominantly for front runners. But he's got a good pull here. He's going to likely get a good secondary item there. Well, just another mushroom, but if he can get around this mess here, he's going to be in good shape. Boomerangs, bananas.
Whoa, that boomerang!
Fire! Oh my! More fire!
That was like a Wizard of Oz reference right there.
Yeah, lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, that's what it's going for. But a blue shell coming in now too. Somebody gets hit with a piranha plant. It doesn't affect Devoty. He's all the way up to 3rd now.
Already, this race is absolutely nuts. I mean, not even on lap 3 yet. Devoty is going to have a shroom and triple bananas in 2nd. Meanwhile, Netherlands Mitch is holding down the fort. If there's going to be a blue shell, we'll have to see, because people are passing the first set right now. a blue shell will completely change everything up drastically. We'll have to see if Mitch can hold on. And we'll have to see if Devoty is going to be playing offensively or defensively. And it looks like he's going to choose to go for the latter strategy.
So we're seeing a star coming up from the back. The distance is relatively close between the top 12 right now, or all 12 racers. So we'll see more stars coming up into play. And for Mitch, it looks like this is going to be the good win for him. He might opt to throw or hang on to that banana for safekeeping. And now Devoty does get second. So great recovery from him, especially after getting rocked going into the first set of turns. So Seabaster gets third. LMDS, Mitch. Thompson has a 6-point lead.
Yeah, we do unfortunately see LMDS's lead being cut down a little bit, because I'm pretty sure it used to be around 20 points after race 6. And I think now it was less than 10. But either way, he's still looking good. But what I was going to point out is that at the line, it looked like the top 6 and bottom 6 were just completely just cut. Or like there was just a huge gap after 6th. And probably less than a second between 7th and 12th at the line there. So that was a crazy finish.
Yeah, so, oh man, I was trying to look at the delay, and I think it's Tomsu. There's a 6-point gap between 6th and 7th. And I think 8th also has a mathematical shot, even though it's very unlikely that they can kind of get that final spot. But the top 5 are all relatively safe at this point. So it'll be kind of curious to see what happens there. I'll try and point it out. I think that the key person to look on this screen when we see the scores is Tomsu and reference everyone around him. So Tomsu there coming in at 76. So you got Nikan there at 70. That's the gap. And then there is Seabass there as well with 69. Unfortunately for Chibi, that might be it, because he's got to be relying on 3 other players. But we're going to DMC. So
One
really
of the
it's going to
best
be
quarters in the game. Fight me. I don't
fair
care
enough. Fair enough. I've been brainwashed by some AU guys thinking the same way. So no pushback for me here. But yeah, this is going to be wild, especially with the NISC, with the shortcut opportunity up here past this item box. So there's a lot that can happen, and it's going to be Tomsu to watch. It's going to be Seabass, and it's also going to be, there was that other player. My mind is blanking right now because I'm so glued to the screen.
We do see a Wario in last. I think they got bumped off in the first corner, which is unfortunate. Shocks on this course do seem to be a little less common than usual, even if you are really far back. I'm not really too sure why. I'm not sure if anything has any role in that, but either way, we'll have to see how things shake up, because it does look like the Wario has caught up now, probably thanks to that ending shortcut.
I would say that it might have to do with the fact that all of the item boxes are generally around the boost panel, so depending on like how distance plays a factor. Oh, great trail. Also a bomb right behind Devoty. They're going to be taking some people out, but I would argue that on a free, I mean, maybe for the 6v6 dynamic, but for free-for-alls, shocks can happen here. I wouldn't even be surprised if there would be a shock pulled late lap 3, but we'll see what happens. I think it might be, it's Alpaco maybe? Or I think he might be safe. But Tomsu, Seabass, and it's Nikan. Right, Nikan is that 3rd player to watch. So
we do see
those are the 3.
We do see a Morton in last, and you can only assume that is Tomsu. So we'll have to see. Tomsu's going to have to make a huge comeback on this last lap. We see him going into a star now. Meanwhile, I think Mitch is still in first, so managing to hold on to that front presence very well.
Great job here by Devoty, utilizing that shroom. Gets hit with the fire. And this was a little bit shaky, but still manages to land that landing. Does have this other mushroom for good measure. Seabass, Stevens, Devoty looks like...
Waluigi getting horned by Netherlands Mitch right behind the line. I don't know who that
Brandon.
was. It was Brandon, I think. Unless it was Alpaco.
Oh! Nikan beat out Tomsu by 2 points.
Wow.
That 2nd place finish, I'm going to double check this delay here, was super beneficial for him. And Tomsu was kind of like doing a Hail Mary type of a thing in the back, trying to probably get like a power item to move him up. So Tomsu gets 9th, Nikan gets 2nd, and that is just enough to move the needle.
Yeah, like straight up that horn.
Also got 8th. Very close.
Extremely close. And that horn from Mitch, because I'm pretty sure assuming it was Brandon who did get horned at the line, he was in 2nd. Before he got horned, and so that probably obviously must have allowed Nikan to get 2nd. And well, if Nikan did end up getting third rather than second, and that would have been an entirely different story because it means Nakan would have tied for sixth with Tomsu.
Right, because that 2-point differential between second and third. So, oh man, that was huge. And you also gotta give Brandon. I mean, he got Mario Karted today, just from everything we've seen him, and he's always there up at the front. He gets blue shelled out, or gets air horned out, or sound horned, or whatever. But just pretty wild there. So there it is. LMDS, Mitch, Devoty, Stevens, Kokoti, Nikan moving on, but unfortunately for Tomsu, Seabass, Mitch. I don't know if it's Seabass or Sebas, like Sebastian, but Alpaco, Brandon, Chibi, all those guys, unfortunately not making it. So crazy,
Mhm.
crazy room. And the Waluigi that did get horned there was Brandon, but he recovered at least for a finish, but unfortunately did not make it through.
Yeah, I mean, still a really good showing, even well for everyone, even the people who didn't make it through. Like as you said, Brandon was, I think, like 15, maybe even close to 20 points in dead last after probably around 2/3 of the way through, and so it's seeing him still finish well in not last. He probably would have finished in ninth actually if he didn't lose those spots behind the line on that DMC race. So it's nice to see that he managed to make a comeback. Mitch, especially Netherlands Mitch, that is, he had a really good second half. I think he managed to get at least 3 wins because he got the win on Animal Crossing. I think he got the win on Mute City. I'm not quite sure, so someone might have to correct me on that if I
I
am
think
wrong.
he did.
And he got another win on another track, which I can't remember. But yeah, and I remember he was one of the boys who were fighting for sixth place around the halfway mark, and so seeing him finish on a pretty strong 101, good to
Yeah, that
see.
is true. I remember him being around there, and then you had Stevens, you had Kokode, who was kind of in that fourth, fifth picture there. Tomsu falling out, Nikan moving up. I believe Seabass was up there for a lot in the beginning. Having that same similar run that with Devoty, getting into those bottom spots, but moving up to the front. And then, unfortunately for Alpaco, I mean, he was kind of in that fourth through sixth range there for a little bit, but kind of faltered towards the end. So, kind of an unfortunate ending for him. But man, what a wild way to end these quarterfinals.
I mean, while you say that, uh, there's still another quarterfinals match to go, and
Oh, right.
I believe the room for that will be opening in around 10 minutes' time. And this time, I won't be casting because yours truly will, in fact, be playing in that room.
Second highest seed. We're expecting big things.
Nah, I don't know, dude. I haven't been playing that much. I feared I'm going to be quite rusty.
Yeah,
But
so do I in
I
mine
mean,
coming up too.
we'll have to see.
But yeah, it's a very stacked group as well for the second quarterfinal one coming up. You got Nico, Squidz, who is here with us right now. We got Spike, Bowen, Power, Angel, Aplex, who was very physical in that first round. We got Kuj, super clutch player. Sergio is very consistent. Jai just always being relevant, whether it's the 200cc solo circuit or coming in here to this one late as a late entry and making his way through. Audi as well, and then also Green, who managed to kind of get in as one of the 48th spots, so to speak. So to see him move in, seated 45th is pretty big too. So a lot of good players in that pool. Only time will tell what will happen.
Yeah, and I know I've already uh said this earlier on, I think race 2 or 3, but Sergio apparently, according to Nakan, will not be playing in this next upcoming room. So if that is the case, I don't really know who's going to be replacing him, if anyone will be. Actually, no,
Yeah,
I don't think anyone will be, will they? Because this is the
I don't think
quarterfinals,
so
so
because it's seeded as well. So no one can
yeah.
really like take his seed. That sounds weird out of context. I'm sorry, but anyway, like no one can like. I gotta step back. Yeah, like nobody can
Dude, that
can,
actually
can be number 36. I'll put it
that
that way.
that took me off guard.
I know. Well, I didn't realize what I said until after I said it. But anyways, it's funny because there's gonna be like a 13-year-old that doesn't even know what we're talking about. But yeah, I mean, I would expect that in that room there might just be 11 players, and then the 6 out of the 11 would advance. Would be how I
Yeah,
would see
yeah,
it.
I would assume so.
Oh, okay. Gotta take a deep breath after that one. My bad.
But right. So I think for this next match, we're both going to be taking our leave. Commentary wise, I believe it's actually going to be Mikkel, the one and only, and Teeples.
Yes,
That'd be nice.
that will be. So you're getting a cool flair from those guys in Arc, and pretty exciting too. You know, I think this is kind of the end of the line for us. Obviously, Squidz, you gotta get ready to go into your match. You got any
Yeah, of course.
things you want to say, or any like strategy points you want to give out?
Well, I think it's going to be a close room, just like the one we saw. Lots of stacked players. To be perfectly honest, I'm not quite sure how I'm feeling about my odds. But what can I say? I'll try my best.
Well, I think just on our end, that's going to do it for us. It's been a fun little 3-hour run for me up here, covering the action alongside Rookie, Sketch, Squidz throughout the most of the day. Squidz, obviously, you got to go ahead and get ready. And yeah, we're going to be covered up here in just a little bit by Mikkel and Teeps. So very excited them. They're going to get the torch passed on to them, and we're going to go in some more quarterfinals action coming up.
Yeah, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.